set up out here on the desert. I'm kind of a little bit of a rainy night, so I put my PD shelter, my little dome, over top of me. I got a little bit of clam chowder going here. And as you can see here, the steam is coming out of there, so that's hot. I got me a couple pieces of sourdough I'm going to put on here and toast to go with my clam chowder. Well, you can see my clam chowder steaming here, so that's hot enough. Got my bread toasted, maybe a tiny bit too much on that one side, but we're good there. So I got my soup and my toast, hot water. Pour me a nice hot drink. Alright, let's sample this chowder here. Yeah, I think that's going to hit the spot just fine here tonight. Dip a little of this sourdough toast in my soup. I think anything tastes good with sourdough. Nice night out on the desert here. Underneath my PD shelter, my parachute dome. I got a thermometer running between outside and in here, and I'm almost 40 degrees difference. Right in here about head height than I am like 5 feet outside the shelter. Makes a lot of difference. I mean, it's, you know, a nice deal. So anyway, I just did my typical thing. I got my blanket. This is a large blanket. I clipped it onto the outside of my hammock here. And I've got my poncho made up as a hammock. I've got an underquilt clipped to the bottom, or snapped to the bottom of that. And then I've got my blanket clipped over that and wrapped all the way around, underneath, up the back, dropped down the front. So I'm all the way inside. I was monitoring temperatures last night in the mid 30s outside, and I got almost to 80 inside at one point, and so it's really nice. And one thing I like about this is all I got to have is a 4-foot spreader or something to go from this corner to that far corner over there. And then I don't need to tie anything out because it's hanging up here from the peak with a guy line that goes inside of all the way down. And so that holds it up and holds the weight. This spreader holds it apart in this direction. And so that's all I really need. I don't have to pull out to the ground or anything like that. I just stuck this thing in there and I'm good to go. And this is what I was talking about, the end panels on this canopy bug net top. And because normally with a tarp you're just coming down on both ends, with this right here it helps close that in right there where you're going down to your hammock. And that helps. That's amazing how much that helps keep some weather out. And then right here I got a cord tied to the middle of this thing back to the tree, and that pulls back on it to keep it tight on the sides. And then here's an inside view. It's kind of, you know, it seems pretty weird that it's as warm under this canopy as it is. Because like I say, it's like 38 outside, which isn't terrible, but, you know. But under here, it is just absolutely comfortable. Well, it looks like I need to go for some more firewood. I just walked down to the creek or the wash right there across the way. And man, there's some big old cottonwoods that have fallen over. And I just picked off some bark. The cottonwood bark is one of the That stuff is one of the nicest things to burn on a fire. When you see some of this stuff, it's, you know, 3-4 inches thick. And even when it's been out in the rain and stuff, this stuff still burns great. And one of the nice things, you can get some big chunks of it, and it'll burn for a long time. And the nice thing, you don't have to saw it, you can just break it. Now set me that big piece right there on there. I got another one here. That baby right there is a pretty nice chunk. We'll let that get started. Well, now there's a big piece of cottonwood bark right there. See, I dropped it and it already broke in pieces. But I mean, there's enough right there to run this fire for an hour or two. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, there we go. Now it's burning good. Thing to consider is we've had a lot of rain here the last little while. Plus, there was snow here, so the rain kind of melted off the snow and everything. So everything is thoroughly soaked. I mean, there is no question about it. It is very smoked. Hanging from overhead, I just clipped a carabiner on my line between the two trees, and I'll show you how I tied that off. I like tying off like this. If I'm using the aluminum, Easton aluminum tubing for hoops, for a hoop around there, I only need to tie off like usually in 3 places. If I don't, I usually have to tie off in about 6 to hold it out right. Plus, using the aluminum hoops, I can also do like I'm doing now and just kind of let it float. My 3 guy lines are just to kind of hold it in a general spot. Really nothing else. Sometime you see up here we have these vents, and I don't know if I really need them, but we put them in there from the beginning, and I've been going to take them out, but I decided to leave them in there. I've actually toyed with some stuff utilizing those, so I'm just going to leave them. Let's try a bird's eye view here. I've never done this before. Go up through the vent and look down on the fire. So anyway, you see, normally you get a little bit of flow like this, and I could tighten the 3 guy lines just a little bit if I want to control a little bit more, but I kind of just left them like that. I don't know, the more I use this thing, the more I'm kind of letting it do its own thing just a little bit. Here's a nice spot right here. Well, I think I'll hang my poncho up. Jam my mortar there. For a lot of years, I've made cordage out of all kinds of different tree barks, and I used to show my scouts how to do that and that sort of thing when we lived back east in the Carolinas. And but they do have another purpose besides cordage. This is some cedar bark, juniper, and I just twisted some juniper bark into a cord. Now, got some stuff and junk in it. But anyway, so this, you see the front edge of this right here, the end of it, yeah, I can throw a spark in there or whatever. I can use this various ways as a fire starter. I can also leave it like that, and I can unwind it and make a bird's nest out of this. And this is a way to keep a bird's nest from coming apart by twisting it together into a rope. This is some inner bark from cottonwood trees that are down here in the wash. And you see how papery and fine that stuff is. This is a little bit too stiff right here, so I want to peel apart some of the layers. I know some people will watch this and say, that's stupid. Cotton ball and Vaseline is better. Well, this is more fun. Alright, so I'm just going to pull out a little bank line off my bank line dispenser here. I just wanted to do it this way just for the heck of it. Just because I can is why. I just want to divide it about in half. And then I just come up here and I just start twisting. So I'm twisting it one direction and pulling it around the other. So we're creating a kind of a friction here. So I'm about as long as I'm going to make it here. That's quite a bit of fire starting material. So anyway, here's a little finished piece of cordage from the inner part of cottonwood bark. And like I say, it's actually reasonably strong. And it's not like a regular rope, but normally I only make them maybe a little bit longer than that right there, but I just used what I had today. But anyway, so it's a fun little tip, or just something to do while you're milling around camp. Well, I got back to camp, and I got a lot of mud, and it's not really mud, I guess it's sand. No, it's sand with a little clay in it, actually. But anyway, I got back to here. I've been gone for almost 2 hours, hiking around and stuff. I'm gonna stoke this fire back up, and I'm gonna make me up some lunch and stuff here. So, a day at the camp. It's a stinking blast. Alright, I'm going to do something ridiculous. As if I haven't done that before. The day I came up here, I stopped and got something to eat in my travels, and I had some fries left over. I don't really want to refry them, but I thought, I wonder if I just throw them in this pan here and kind of warm them up and crisp them up a little. I don't know. We're about to find out. Well, I think they're looking good there. They're browning up. If I leave them much longer, they're going to be too brown. I just wanted them to be hot, you know. Let me try one here. Yep, that'll work. Now they're crispy on the outside. I'm glad I didn't throw them away. Maybe they taste better now than they did before.